Hello, hang on, what's going on here? Oh, there we are. Right, there we are. Hello, everybody. We are secure. The camera is in the cradle, and the silver spoon, little boy blue, and the man in the moon. Bit of an ugly Joe for you there. It wasn't them who sang it originally. I can't remember who it was. But hello, and welcome back to the live stream. Today, I thought we would do some building. I was going to do some British infantry, but I didn't bring them upstairs with me. So there you go. So we're going to do some third-rate action here. Hello, Bob Creature. Hello, Oliver. We're going to do some third-rate action. Sorry, I'm just trying to remember what my passcode for my computer is. Yeah, I got it in the end. Hello, Ian. Hello, Raycon. Yeah, so I thought we'd build this third rater today. I'm always raving about how nice these Warlord ships are, so I thought I'd show how nice and simple they are to put together, hopefully, and we'd have a look at that. Now, this is one of the ones. This was in the sale, I got this, so that was a bit of a bonus. And hello, Paul. And so this one I think was $3.99, which is a significant discount off its usual price. The downside, however, is that there are no instructions. So so there you go. So we're going to have to work that out amongst ourselves. Now, I haven't made one of these. I've made one of their frigates. Well, I've made several of their frigates. And I have made their brigs. But I haven't made any third raters yet. So the only third rater I've got is, in fact, I don't have any third raters. I was going to say the Constitution, but I think technically that is a heavy frigate. So Bobby's painting some white coat frame. Ooh, very interesting. Okay, get ready to shock everyone at the Battle of Eylau. You were on Eureka's AB website purchasing 1905 Russians. You are a man of great taste, because they are gorgeous models. If I hadn't already started in 28mm and 15mm, then they certainly would have been high on my list to buy. So what I'm going to start off with is I'm going to keep it fairly simple. We're going to cut out this side of the hull and the deck. Now, there are nautical terms that I know some of them. I don't know them all. So, you know, I will occasionally be interchanging back with aft and, you know, fore with front, and you know, seamen with yes, that was the joke. I'll leave it there. Grim Harbinger, hello, nice to see you again. Yes, no, she is indeed a heavy frigate, so she will be visited by me one day. Sometime I'll have to go to Boston and check that out. I'd like to find out when she sails, because she goes around the harbour like once or twice a year, I think. So I'd like to see that. So there we go. So that is the deck. Now, one of the things I absolutely love about these Warlord models are the planking on the decks. Now, perhaps they're a little bit big. They're a little bit wider than they would be if this were a true scale model. But you know what? I don't mind that. It takes a wash really nicely. Now, this one is probably going to be a British third rate. So the deck will be almost white on that one. Not quite, but it would be frequently polished with what we'll call holy stones. So that was a way of keeping the sailors busy. They would scrub the deck to have it gleaming. So I've got my knife. Now, this is different to my normal knife. This is quite a sharp one. So I'm going to try and be careful. If I've got stuff on my hands, it's because I had to microwave my coffee when I came in, and it had a horrible skin on the top. So I was trying to take that off, and it's just gone absolutely everywhere. So that's why. Promise. So apologies for missing the video on Sunday. I was really ill. I had a terrible headache all weekend. It seems to have eased a little this morning, which is nice. But I was just on Sunday. I was just full of cold, full of snot, as well as having the headache. And I was hoping it would clear up as the day went on. But I just had to bite the bullet and say, look, and the reason was, and it's slightly disappointing, really, is I've got a really good topic for. I think it's an interesting topic for the video. So you guys let me know what you think. So it is a ranking from worst to best of. It's going to be the start of a new series. It's ranking worst to best the plastic box sets for various troop types. And the one for last weekend, so it'll be this weekend now, was for French infantry. So let me know if that's something that you'd be interested in, me ranking. Obviously it's only my opinion, but what I think is the worst set up to what I think is the best. If that's something that you'd be interested in watching, let me know. If you think that's a silly idea, then let me know that as well, because ultimately you guys are the most important people when it comes to content, because there's very little point in me making it if no one's going to watch it. So I'm just scraping that back there. Need to focus on this side really, because this is the one that we'll be gluing first. So keep my fingers plenty away from the knife. What's going on here? Ben's painting some piano Bavarians. Well, I've still got my piano Württembergers here. You'll be pleased to see. It's pleased / not pleased. Yes, I was thinking that after we finished the stream. I got the chat to answer, and then I courageously stepped away. When do I think Napoleon was at his peak? Honestly, a lot of people would say his Italy campaign. I don't know enough about his Italy campaign to really go with that one. So I'm going to say, I think it was probably the period 1805 to 1809, with particular reference to Austerlitz and then the Treaty of Tilsit afterwards. I think Austerlitz shows him at his absolute peak as a battlefield commander, and I think the Treaty of Tilsit shows him his best as a politician, which ultimately, I mean, he was, wasn't he? He's not like, I mean, to an extent, Wellington had to do politics with the Spanish as well in order to become generalissimo. But he didn't have the grand politics, shall we say, that someone like Napoleon had to deal with. So I think in that period, it really showed that he was the consummate general. I think his idea of abandoning the Pratzen Heights to draw on the Austrians and Russians was absolutely inspiring. I mean, it's, Hannibal at Cannae or Caesar at Elysia levels of military genius, that one, I think. And and as I say, I think the Treaty of Tilsit really showed Napoleon at his political peak as well. So yes, so there you go. So that's my answer. 1805 to 1808 really was the Treaty of Tilsit, wasn't it? By making it 1808, I can then recuse the Spanish also. I think it all went downhill for him when he saw, he didn't really realise how important Spain would be, I think. Was it a skinny latte? Ian, if you'd met me, my friend, you would understand that no, it was not. It's just a normal cup of Nescafe in my Muka mug. I'm quite a fan of Muka, actually. When I went to Prague, we went to the Muka Museum. You can see the remnants of it on the side of the cup there. Very disappointing. Hello, David. Hello. So I know I also should apologise for microwaving my coffee when getting so angry about Americans microwaving tea, shouldn't I? But that said, in my defence, coffee and tea are not the same thing. I think you can get away with microwaving coffee. I don't think you can get away with microwaving tea. So now I'm just gonna get up the Warlord Games website here. Let's have a look at their Black Seas page. Let's see if that's going to give me any indication of what I'm supposed to be doing here. Now, it's all about the third edition of Bolt Action now. All the pre-orders and everything. I'm quite looking forward to it. Actually, anyone else interested in Bolt Action? I know we're a Napoleonic channel, but still. Where are we? Third rates. There we are. A bit like me, third rate. Oh, well, that's completely not useful. Oh, brilliant. Great, awesome. Of course, you also don't get the sails or the rigging either, which is a bit of a problem. But that's okay. I've got plenty of spare ships. We've got spare sails, spare rigging on them. No problem. So that there is going to glue here. It's going to need tidying up, but it's going to glue onto there, I imagine. I think there's a little nub in there. I suspect that'll go in there. A nubbin being the technical naval term, of course. So yes, rubric. I hope that is. I hope that answers your question. So it was a great question last week. I apologise for not answering it then. It seemed like a fine idea. Yeah, well, I thought so, Bob. I thought it'd be. And listicles are always fun, aren't they? So ASMR for men. Black Seas. Yeah, absolutely. So. And Czechia mentioned absolutely. Yeah. Rapid destruction of Prussia in 1806 with his armies. But yeah, absolutely. I think I was keen to sort of answer the question with appreciating the difference between the army at its peak and Napoleon at his peak. But I think, I think certainly the Prussia campaign and then its continuation to destroying the Russians at Friedland, I think was very good. I mean, even something like Eylau was maybe not France's finest hour. Maybe it was a bit of a taste of things to come in Russia, but they certainly got the job done. I've just been writing a lot about the Russian campaign, actually, particularly the Battle of Smolensk, and that was it was a rough place to be. So I'm not sure I would have liked to have been on the 1812 Russian campaign, I have to say. So I just pushed that in there. I'm not entirely certain which way around it goes. I don't think it hugely matters, he says. I hope it doesn't anyway. There's a bit of flash there. I'll cut that off. Careful not to gouge it too much there. Right. Now my thing's clogged up. I don't want to drown this thing in glue, so that's why I'm using it as a bit of a spreader. On that note, I will make some coffee with gingerbread syrup. Oh, good choice. But actually, I find in suffering the 40k issue, I feel a new edition every year. I think it's been like 8 years since the last ones. It's been a while. But, yeah, there are a few things that definitely need changing as well. But, that's, yeah, it's fine. We'll see how it goes. I'm just chewing a bit of milk skin there. Lovely. Right. What have we got? Black Seas is actually easy to paint. The rigging is a little tricky, but painting is super easy if you use contrast speed paints. I completely agree. I've been really enjoying painting my... I've got an American fleet already painted up. I've not done anything with the Royal Navy yet. This one's going to have the Nelson checker. But, yes, I haven't done anything with the Royal Navy yet. Second edition came out in 2016. Yeah, so that's, what, 8 years ago? So, I mean, it's been a while, but I guess it's also a perception issue as well, isn't it? It doesn't really matter so much exactly when it did come out. More how long it's perceived to have been can sometimes be just as, if not more important than when it actually was. So, I'm just looking here. I think the next bit to do is the forecastle, or the pointy bit, as landlubbers would say. So that's this bit here. Now I know it goes this way up. It looks a little bit weird. It's got this big divot in the middle, but that's where the mast that sticks out the front. There you go. See, we've reached the limit of my my naval knowledge here. Is it the bowsprit? It's the bowsprit, isn't it? It's where the bowsprit comes out. So so there you go. Yeah. You see, get me. I'll be Roger in the cabin, boy, before you know it. Right. So there we go. So those of you who don't know, who are from abroad, we used to have a TV show here in the UK called Captain Pugwash, and there was a character called Roger the Cabin Boy. Now, whether there actually was or not is subject to some debate. But yes, no, he was. Yes. So there you go. There's some good British humour for you there. I'm just putting it there. You may be able to hear in the background the soft whirring of the printer. What's on there today? It is... Oh, it's some Warhammer 30... Epic 30,000... Reavers. Sons of Horus Reavers. So there you go. That's what's on there today. I've just done some 12th century knights. So I thought the Reavers only take about an hour. They're only small. So I thought we'd get those on while I'm up here. Now, I probably could have done with gluing this on first. So that's a lesson to learn for next time. Fortunately, I've got 5 of these. So I will know that one next time. David Benson did have a Napoleonic question. If you want to campaign on the Grand Tactical level and refight all the battles in Chandler's book, what rules would I recommend? Oh, blimey. Probably you might need to do some of your own work on this, but something like Blucher I think would work very well. It's a very good army level game. Now you would need to make your own cards, but he did have a add-on which I think is a free download called Gneiss now, and that is the campaign rules. So you can use those to do all the campaigny stuff, and then when you actually get to the fighting, then you can go with Blucher. That would probably be my suggestion if you wanted an army level game. Obviously, if you wanted a divisional level game, then I'd recommend Black Powder, or perhaps General de Brigade. What other ones might I recommend? I mean, if you want to do it big, I'd probably suggest something like Command and Colours. I suspect that there is one or more games from like Avalon Hill or ESR or something like that, based around all of Napoleon's campaigns as well. So you could perhaps keep an eye out for them. But yeah, I think if you wanted to do figure wargaming, then I would probably look at Blucher, if I'm honest, if I wanted to do an army level game. That you could get done in a day. I think, you know, if you're trying to refight a large battle like Austerlitz, I think even Blucher you're gonna need the full day for it. I think. Just knock that off there. Now, one thing that I had noticed, I thought it wasn't on these models, but it is, and I'm very pleased it is. There's 3 holes in the side of the hull. There's one there, there's one there, and there's one there. Those 3 parts, those 3 parts are the most important part of the model, because that's where the rigging will go through. So it's really useful that they're there, really important that they're in place. So it's good to see. If they're not there, you'll need to cut them out or drill them out before you glue the model together. And some of you may have seen in a past live stream, I printed a model of L'Orient, and whilst drilling out the holes, it went through the top of the bow rail, and yeah, that was a huge issue when it came to rigging the ships. So if you are putting together one of these plastic ships, make sure that those 3 holes are in place. I think there's only 2 for, well, there's 2 for the brig, so there should be the number of holes on each side that there are masts for the ship, because you need 1 for each mast to put the rigging in. So there we are. Get some gluey glue on there. Pop this closed there. Oh, not quite lining up. There we are. Then I suspect we might need a peg or 2. Now the pegs might be a little strong. They might not take. There we go. Now the front here, you can see the bow is sprung a little bit there. So let's come around. Now, one of the things I don't want to do with this peg is damage the cannons. I perhaps should have put a bit of kitchen roll or something like that over the top of the cannons first. That might have been a better idea. But yeah, these cannons can snap off, so just be aware of that. It's not necessarily the end of the world if they do. You can always get a little bit of sprue or something like that in there, just to or a bit of plasti rod, just to put it back on there. That's probably what I'll end up doing. Now, don't worry too much about this looking pretty, because we're going to have the figurehead on there. So you're not actually going to see too much of it, but you need to make sure that it joins up at the top there. And semen stains, absolutely, John. How could we forget semen stains? And there is no Mast. Well, exactly. Oh, don't ruin it, Dead End Satellite. God. Hello, Clive. Nice to see you. They almost certainly are urban legends, but still fun though. So, oh, Mike's gone full Black Sea, Star Set, Royal Navy, and French fleets. Okay, I'll blame Ian for that one. So Martin escapes that one, but Ian is the culprit. Generally, Blucher only takes us 2 to 4 hours with 3 or so core. Oh, right, okay, fair enough. We haven't gotten our Leipzig gaming yet, but it might be an all-day event. Well, there you go then. So yeah, absolutely go with Blucher. Would be the way. It certainly is, Oliver. I thought it was time to let everyone know to get a ship to suit the channel. Third rate is is the best way to go. Not even second rate. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick poll. 1, 2, or 3. Which one should I go for the rear of the ship, the stern of the ship? Which one is everyone's favourite one? So vote 1, 2, or 3, and that's the one we'll go for. It's a bit like Blind Date with Scylla. You've got this one there. It's quite boring, that one. It's got lots of windows though. That one a bit fancier. Oh, hang on, there we are. That one is a little bit fancy. Not quite so many windows, and that one is very fancy with lots of windows. So 3, 3, a 2. Okay, you got 5 seconds, guys. Any more choices? 3, 2, 1. Okay, number 3 it is. So that's this one here then. God, it would be the most complicated one, wouldn't it? So let's trim that off. Now, one thing I have noticed on the ship is there's a hole here. Now, there's normally a door that goes through into the stern there. I wonder where... I also wonder where this goes as well. It looks like it has a hole for a mast in it. But, let me see. Are there any top-down pictures of ships? No, because that will be handy. And everything's covered by boats. Awesome. Now, the boats I tend to leave off, actually. I always mean to put them on the bases as if they're like towing the ship and things like that. But I haven't got around it yet. But that's the plan. I will do that at some point. I also want to do them as little bases for if we ever do like amphibious landings. So something like, or the reverse of landings, something like Corunna or Alexandria, something like that. So, not Alexandria. Do I mean Alexandria? Or do I mean the bay? That one anyway. The one where Murat got shot in the mouth. No, Clive, I have not read the instructions. Of course I haven't read the instructions. The reason I haven't read the instructions, though, is I actually have an excuse for not reading the instructions. That is, I don't have any. I bought these in the sprue sale, and they didn't come with instructions. So, in my defense, I don't actually have any instructions. So, I'm sure I could watch a tutorial on the YouTubes about putting them together. But, you know, where would the fun in that be? We're learning together. We're bimbling along. I said before, like a chimp with a laptop. Wargaming 3D has rowboats with crew for free. Yes, I've actually downloaded some of those. The problem I've got with them is getting the oars off of the print bed without the oars snapping. That's so I think what I may end up doing is just getting them off, snapping all the oars off, and then replacing them with plastirod. Real men don't use the instruction. Exactly. This is that toxic masculinity shining through here. So, how difficult could it be to build a Napoleonic ship, he says. Now, I suspect these things here have to go before the quarter deck. That's the only place I can think of that goes. Now they are different ones though. Well, because there's nothing else that can go unless that goes in. You could do. Colin, do you do Blucher in 6mm? Well, I mean, you use the cards, don't you? But yes, I would love to do it in 6mm, actually. I think if I did 6mm, that is what I would do. Right. Look, you use the ships as pirates. Fantastic. Yeah, well, I mean, you got to have a pirate ship in there, aren't you? I think you even get flags for pirate ships, actually. So I think you get a Jolly Roger. There's a chap at the club who is he's doing his, I think it's either his masters or his PhD on pirates. He is a man who loves his pirates. So that certainly doesn't go there. Where on earth does this go? Does it go at the front? No. Now, as I say, this hole here looks like it's where masts go. Right. Looks like it's where a mast goes, but I suspect it isn't. Let's have another look. Let's have a look in the book. Warlord. Third. Right. Someone's selling one here on eBay. It's a shame they're not selling the. It's a shame they're not picturing the instructions. Let's have a look at images. What I'm looking for really is one that's kind of top down that shows the deck. Here we are. Here we go. Now it is rigged, so that does cover up some of the goodies. But right, okay. Hang on. Now it looks like right. I think I made a mistake. I believe this should have gone in here before I glued the side on. Let's have a look. I'm on JJ Wargames blogspot here. He's done some as British, some as Spanish. They are looking mighty tasty, but he's not done any from the bow straight back, which is a shame. That would be the most useful thing. Right. Now that does suspiciously fit in that hole there. Now the question is, which way round does it go? I suspect. Have I tried painting the flags? No, I haven't actually. Not the American ones. I have painted tiny American flags before. My 6mm modern armor. They have the flags on the bases. And right, there we go. So it just fits in there. Oh, that's the wheel. That's the ship's wheel. So right, okay. That's not so bad. So we'll get a little bit of glue on here. And we'll pop that in there. And there we go. Look at that. You see, I knew we'd get there in the end. Ha! Intelligent of a squid. Brilliant stuff. As we're on the subject, who's going to the Joy of Six on Sunday? Now, many of you won't know the Joy of Six. That is a wargaming event that is here in sunny Sheffield. It's not very sunny at the moment, although there is a nice cool breeze actually, so I'm not too sad about that. But that is a wargaming show that's here in Sheffield, and that is purely for 6mm figures. Anyone who knows anything about 6mm will probably know of Bacchus miniatures. I think they either founded it or they certainly have quite a lot to do with it. I'll be honest, I'm 50-50 whether I'm going to go. It's it's very close to me, location-wise, but there's not really anything that I do in 6mm. So I don't know. I may drop in, but 6mm was I do modern in 6mm. If GHQ were there and they weren't trying to remove my kidneys for like a box of Humvees, then I would probably definitely go. But as it stands, I don't know. We'll have to see. You are a follower of the great 6mm prophet, Peter Berry. No, that's fair enough. Yeah. He certainly enjoys his thing. I find 6mm is a bit of a weird thing though, particularly when it comes to Bacchus, because I tend to find it's not much cheaper than buying 28mm, because you just buy 10 times as much. So a battalion of 28mm infantry will cost you 15, 16, 20 quid. Well, a battalion in 6mm, I mean, you don't do a battalion in 6mm, you would do a regiment, and that's going to cost you roughly the same price. So I tend to find it's a bit of a, like cost-wise, it's a bit of a false economy, I tend to find. The joysticks used to be the Bacchus Open. Oh, fair enough. Yeah. I mean, I assumed that they had to be related. Right, so we've done, by public poll, we've done the back of the ship. Let's look at the figureheads. So we've got Lion at the top. We've got Merman. Next one down. Looks like a merman or like a Spartan or something. A lady with big boobies is the third, number 3. And a mermaid with smaller boobies, but still boobies, is number 4. So, 15 seconds. 1 to 4. Which one do you want? We've got Lion, Merman, big boobs, or Mermaid, small boobs. So 1 to 4. Didn't I get the Turner Miniatures 6mm STLs? No, 12mm. I'm going to assume that's number 3 then, Clive. Fair enough. Speaking about Napoleon's best, I think his coolest moment was when Rivoli, when he saw the French army was surrounded. He basically replied, "They are ours. I don't see anyone else." Fair enough. Well, Nelson, I see no ships. So what we got? We got 1, 2, 3, 4 for 3, and 2 for 4 at the moment. 1 for 1. Andreas has been sensible. Thank you, Andreas, for raising the raising the tone. But yeah, no, we'll give it 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, you guys are all sick. So we'll go with the number 3. I mean, it doesn't really matter because I'll be doing the. I've got some more ships, so I'll be using them all eventually anyway. Because I'm doing British, I'll save the Lion for the British one. Yeah, no, this one's going to be British as well. Now, as I suspected, there's a fat mould line down the middle of this, so this is definitely worth scraping off before I glue it on. Although I've said that, it might be easier to hold when it's glued on, so maybe I'll just do a quick one here and then do it a bit more later on. Looks like she's got a crown as well, so this is a good one for the Brits because we've got the Fallen Madonna with the bigger boobies, and then we've got a crown as well. For the French ones, I try and steer away from crowns and stuff, because then you can use them for the 1st of June, which is when the British destroy the revolutionary French fleet, as opposed to the Imperial French fleet, which we destroyed at Trafalgar. Lol. And some other ones as well. Cape St. Vincent and the Nile, obviously. Places like that. Clive seems to be watching on his calculator, so that's good. So I'll just have a little bit of glue. Now this fits in here, there's like a plug. Slots in there, absolutely gorgeous. Look how that fits in there. Beautiful. Beautifully done. I don't know who I mean, you know, obviously there are sculptors, and the people who sculpt these things are obviously very good. But the people who make the actual kits, who break it all down and put it on the sprues and things like that, the mold makers, you know, that is also a pivotal role, and they've done a fantastic job on these. These go together really, really nicely. The frigates do as well. So David has in front of me a whole corps of Union infantry in the process of being painted. Price about £25, so the price of a battalion in 20 mil. Okay, well, that's fair enough then. Maybe I'm being a little. Is that from Bacchus? Because I tended to think that theirs was a little bit more expensive. So there we go. I mean, when I talk about like 6 mil as well, I would probably want a battalion to have 60, 70 models in it as well. So if I'm going to do 6 mil, I would do it in very much in the grand manner. Now, there's these things here. I'm still undecided therefore. I'm going to say they are giant ship-sized harmonicas. I don't think that's right, though. I'm trying to look at the quarterdeck to see if it's part of that. They look quite fancy. So they look a little quarterdecky to me. No, I suspect that whatever they are, I'm going to be able to glue them on later anyway. Although I might trim one off now and see if anywhere jumps out at me that it belongs. But yes, no, definitely check out JJ's Wargames on the old blog spot. I do quite enjoy going to a blog spot now and again while I'm at work. There's only so much goonhammer that any normal person can take, I think. So it's curved there, and it's less curved there. Interesting. Oh, yes. I seem to think it goes on the back here. Let me have a look. Ah, yes. Trebien. It does. I think there's a specific one for each stern part. So I'm assuming it's his bottom one then, if that was number 3. Well, one of the good things about these ships as well is that everything that you need for it's on one frame. But there's no point in keeping these or the extra figureheads or whatever, because they're going to be on the next frame as well. So it saves you adding to your sprue pile of shame. So that's handy as well. So that is good. Back at 6 mil. Well, I might have another look at them. The other thing as well is I need to think of a period that I would want to do in 6 mil that I don't already have in another scale. That's another problem with 6 mil for me. I thought about World War One. In 6 mil, but I've done that in 28 mil now, so maybe late World War One, because the 28 mil stuff's all 1914, so maybe late World War One I could be tempted by. So I believe this goes on here. Ah, there we go. There we go. You, ladies and gentlemen, you are seeing here how monkeys developed tools. This is like, I hope you anthropologists out there are studying hard. So it goes that way up, which is surprising. I thought it would be the other way, but nope, it's definitely that way up. There you go. He's got like a little balcony. You can go out on the back there, have a nice gin and tonic, watch the sun go down. Lovely stuff. Have a cheeky slice of lime in his gin and tonic so he doesn't get scurvy. What's the basic unit in Blucher? Is it the brigade? No, it's a battalion. Or is it possibly a regiment? It's either a battalion or a regiment. So, but they're only like the size of a playing card. So you can absolutely fill a table with a ton of them. Turnham Inches do similar ships. Yes, no. Yes. Well, I've got Yeah, I've got the Turner ones. Are these Turner? Is that? Yeah, that's a Turner one. That's a Dutch. Past the Dutchy on the left-hand side. So that's that one. Now, one of the things that is quite handy, actually, about these is the extra anchors and things like that you can use on the printed ones. Netherlands versus England. Who's my money on? Well, I've got to say England, haven't I? I'm not really super thrilled by it, though. I wouldn't be surprised if the Netherlands win, but obviously I would like England to win. We'll see how it goes. I think Kane should have been dropped back to be a number 10 a long time ago. I'd have Saka as number 9, Kane as 10. But anyway, yes, let's not talk football because there'll be people who want to try and avoid that. I thought about English Civil War or Wars of the Roses at 6 mil. I've got Wars of the Roses in 15 mil, and I've got English Civil War in 50 mil as well. So yes, but also no. Bacchus Great Northern War is very popular. Yes, no, that's true. I have seen that. Again, though, I've just got them in 28 mil. So I have a biscuit tin with a few brigs. I'm not sure whether to throw away or not. While in the garage, a few mice were feeling a bit big. And ate the roll. Blimey. Okay. So, well, you should. It's a shame you didn't manage to video it. That would have been like a good Ray Harryhausen style shot. That one. Of the ginormous mice attacking the ship. Right, so I'm going to pop that to one side because the next things we're going to go for are the masts. Now, it's probably easier to paint the ship, particularly the deck, without the masts on. But let's let's throw caution to the wind anyway, and let's get some mast action going on. Now we've got the main mast here. We've got the foremast here, and the rear mast. I want to say the mizzen mast. Is that one? Here. So we'll start off with the main mast, and then go back from there. Yes, Goonhammer is. It's certainly a thing, isn't it? Thing being the operative, I think. There's no real, really good wargaming blogs out there anymore, though, I don't think. You've got Thunder on the Danube, obviously that's amazing. But, yeah, he doesn't really, update it that much. At least Goonhammer's, regularly updated. There's, I used to read 1D4chan, which is very good for tactics, but that seems to have been scrubbed from the internet, so none of that anymore. I just have to go to regular 4chan instead. Although I don't think they'd, I don't think they'll let me do that other way. Ben Lowry, if I was setting up a demo game of Black Powder, how many battalions would I use? It would depend on how long I wanted the demo game to last. If it was sort of 20 minutes, half an hour, then I would probably go with 2 or 3 battalions of infantry. Maybe. Probably 2. A unit of cavalry and a cannon. Something like that. If I wanted it to last all day, I'd probably do that, but brigades. So I'd do a brigade of infantry, or maybe 2 brigades of infantry, a small brigade of cavalry, and then I have some attached artillery. So, yes, the mizzenmast is the aftmast. Thank you very much. There you go. It's all in there somewhere. It's just dragging it out in time. I see the... so I read in the news today that they have extended the exclusion zone around the wreck of the Endurance. Now, Shackleton's story in the Endurance getting to South Georgia and all that stuff, absolutely fascinating. But the ship is at 3,000 meters. It's not that far off the depth that Titanic's at. I very much doubt there's going to be any ships that are going to damage the wreck. I really don't think there's going to be. So I'm just going to double check that this is in fact the main mast. It be, yes, it's bigger than that one. Definitely bigger than that one. So this be the main mast. Now, I've done these before. The holes are very tight. Now I don't necessarily mind that because it means that you don't need to glue the masts in. I do, because I'm going to rig them. But if I wasn't going to rig the masts, I probably wouldn't glue them in. I would probably have them so I could take them in and out, which would aid in transportation and save them getting damaged. So there we go. That is the main mast. I will be splicing the main brace later. So that's that one there. Then we've got the mizzen. Ah, my hearties. I must make a confession as well. I was in the last live stream, or maybe in the one before, I was talking about the sale, talking about the ridiculous value of the Duke of Marlborough Wars sprue. Well, I went and bought 12 of them, so I now have a Marlburian army that is just as well. I've got the files for the Great Northern War, because I might do them as a Carolinian army. I might do them as Swedes. I'm sure their uniform is slightly different, but I don't know enough to care that their uniform is slightly different. So yeah, I might do them as Swedes, or I might just do them as British, and the Russians can fight the British. It could be the Crimean War, 1690 or something like that. I don't know. So again, now you'll see I'm using the clippers here. I'm using them to push in because it is a tight squeeze. There we are. And then we've got the foremast. I'm running a couple of local demo games in Google this month. Oh, right, okay. In Google, sorry. I thought you were running them on Google. That would be interesting. Another Crimean War was, yeah, but in this case it'd be, you know, because it's Brits versus Russians, Marlburian times. So that's why it'd be like it'd be like 1702 or something like that. I don't know. Do I have units of Marmaleeks? I do. I have printed some Marmaleeks actually, but they were printed in 20mm. So I was just looking around to see if I've got them to hand. I don't. Yes, I printed them in 20mm, so I needed to upscale them. They are Ottoman Marmaleeks though, so they're not the Marmaleeks of the Guard, which I'm still looking out for in 28mm. So if anyone knows. Right, now, I'm running a couple of local demo games in Gaul this month. I've never done anything like this before. Any advice? Well, it's something I've done quite a lot of. I used to work for Games Workshop, and when I worked for Games Workshop, their main KPI was the number of intro games that you've run. So it was all about recruiting new hobbyists. They seem to have moved away from that now, and they're just on about trying to fleece the whales. But yeah, it used to be about recruiting new hobbyists. So what would my advice be? I should really jump onto the ex Games Workshop employees Facebook page for this one. So I would say the first thing, the most important rule I would say for a good demo game is don't let the rules constrain you. Okay. So what I mean by that is don't cheat, don't make stuff up, but also don't let the rules stop the players doing stuff that they want to do. So for argument's sake, if they want to charge the infantry with the cavalry, I probably wouldn't form square. I would just say, yep, no, that's fine. They, make your command roll. Yep, they charge in. You do your closing fire, and then the cavalry go in. So something like that, I think, would be my first. Gringo 40s for Marmalade. Yeah, okay. Or I could gold plate myself for the slightly cheaper. So the first thing I would recommend is let the rules guide you, but don't let them get in the way of creating a good experience for the player. So as I say, I think in Black Power, the perfect example would be if he wants to charge your infantry with his cavalry, just let him do it. Disorder would be another thing as well. I would suggest that you either give your like the inductees, you either give them elite units or you just ignore disorder. I mean, General Dan, I'm surprised he still plays Black Power, to be honest, because the first time he played it, I thought, I'll give him a cavalry brigade, that'd be good fun for him, and he spent the most of the game disordered. So it wasn't any fun for him at all. So, you know, thanks to Dan for persevering with it. So I would say with disorder, either don't use it, let your opponent disorder you, but don't you use it on him, or just give them an elite. So say, yeah, you know, you can ignore it on a 4+ or a 5+. If you do it that way, then you could probably do that for your own units as well. So you don't let them win, but you stack the game in such a way that it's difficult for them to lose. Now, when I was in Games Workshop, there was a surprising amount of discussion about whether the person you're teaching the game to should always win. Now, I was of the opinion, and I still am of the opinion, that yes, the person who is being introduced to the game should always win. I had a single game of War Machine where the guy was like, yeah, you know, I'll show you what to do. I mean, to be honest, I wasn't really that bothered anyway. But he was like, yeah, I'll show you what to do. So I was like, oh, okay. He said, yeah, you can go first. So I went first. And he said, yeah, you know, you do this, 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 and this. I was like, okay, fair enough. And then he went, bub. I roll this dice. Your Warcaster's dead. You lost the game. I was like, amazing. So my one experience of War Machine lasted about 25 minutes. And which is probably just as well, because I think it's just closed down, hasn't it? The company that was doing it, or they've stopped supporting the game anyway. So only 4 Swedish coats from the Great Northern War preserved anyway. Oh well, there you go, exactly. So I can do, I can use them for that. So I've got quite a cool hot and dangerous female model I want to use as well. She's got like the half pike, so she's a lovely model. So I look forward to using her. Right. Now, I've made a mistake already by gluing the bowsprit down to the figurehead. Now, that's not necessarily a problem later, and I will do that. But I seem to recall when rigging the ship, the rigging is going to need to go underneath. Is going to need to go underneath the bowsprit part. So I'll try and rub that off. Oh, there we go. If it sticks, it sticks. It's not necessarily the end of the world. Will I make a video someday showing all of my miniatures? I could do. I don't want to do a video that's just like, oh yes, look how amazing my collection is, because I'm not sure who that's for. That sounds like it's a bit for me, sucking myself off. I don't really want to do that. But it's maybe one day. To be honest, some of the battles are pretty much the vast majority of my collection. Something like the French and Russian ones are pretty. That's the vast majority of my collections. Maybe not the French ones. I think I've probably got a lot more French units than have been on battle reports. But the Russians are pretty much my entire collection of Russians. What do I think about the Napoleonic French cavalry? Sure, they might not have been the best cavalrymen individually, but in terms of battlefield effectiveness, I consider them the best. Their lack of horsemanship surprises me, considering how famous French knights are, or were. Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, obviously the L'Ordonnance was quite big in its knights, and even earlier you got your 100 Years' War and all that stuff. I think that the French cavalry were good. I mean, they were well equipped, they were well led and well trained. You look at something as daft as their cuirasses. Now, they would have cuirasses with a front and a back plate, whereas the Prussians, the Austrians wouldn't. They just had a front plate, and then the British heavy cavalry, of course, didn't have breastplates at all. The Russians, I think, had a back plate as well, although don't 100% quote me on that one, because I might be wrong there. Yeah, they also had huge numbers of them as well. They outnumbered pretty much everyone except the Russians in heavy cavalry. Light cavalry, I think the French have got the attitude for making good light cavalrymen, haven't they? The Hussars. So I think that's fair enough. I think they probably had very good light cavalry as well. Their chasseurs potentially less so. I get the feeling that the chasseurs were sort of the ginger stepchild of the French armies, in that they weren't particularly glamorous, but they had to get the job done. But no, I mean overall, yes, I think the French cavalry were very good. Units like the Grenadier Cheval, obviously very, very good. But just the sheer amount of regiments of Cuirassiers they had far outnumbers something like the Austrians. I mean, obviously the British, as I say, we didn't go in for Cuirassiers. Would it have made a difference if the British faced Cuirassiers in the peninsula? Quite possibly. I mean, I know there were 2 units of Cuirassiers in Spain, but they were effectively dragoons. They didn't wear the armour. So, yeah, I don't know. I think French. I also think the problem with a lot of French cavalry is it's overshadowed. Oh, well, I was just going on to say, David, they are overshadowed by other units as cavalry. So things like the Polish Lancers, obviously, the Saxon Guard, the Corps, the Italian Queen's Dragoons, things like that. So I think they have the potential to be slightly overshadowed by their allies as well, which can be an issue. But overall, no, I think the French cavalry was good. It was certainly an effective arm. Good, solid. I don't really have much more to say about it, to be honest. Remember that the Austrian cavalry regiments were huge. Absolutely, yes. However, huge means good because you've got lots of dudes with lots of sabres. Huge means bad because you've then got to coordinate all those people, and it's not necessarily all that easy. The more people you've got, the harder they are to coordinate. You need a higher level of training. One of the things with the Austrians is how often did they do multi-regiment training? That would be my big concern for them. Would be probably not as often as the French, particularly in 1805. When they're in the camps in Bologna. I really don't think that can be underestimated. That is why they split their regiments, exactly. But then you've got say the Austrians. I'm just going to pick up a number. Say the Austrians had 10 Cuirassier regiments. Well, they're super huge, so they turn that into 20 units that are the size of a French Cuirassier regiment. Well, that's fine, but the French have got 30 Cuirassier regiments, so I think that was the problem there. And again, I think things like the backplate and things like that had a large impact. So that's for the sail that goes at the back. Yeah, there you go. So that's that one done there. So I believe we've got the anchors here. Now, I use these quite extensively when rigging the ship. So the anchors go on after the ship has been rigged. As I say, I'm not going to keep any of the spare bits. So let's do some tidying up. There we are. I am going to keep the... this is what I'm keeping. So I've got the anchors there. And I've got the ship's boats there. Everything else can go in the bin. There we are. Pop that in the bin bag. By back of the ship, do I mean the blood? Exactly. The non-pointy bit. One thing that made the French cavalry so effective was their coordination, their commanders. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it comes back to training and the skill of the people commanding them. Now, there is a book that I was looking for the other day and could not find. Let me see if I can have a better look now. Hang on. Yes. Is that there? Nope. So there's two books in this set. You're going to be absolutely gobsmacked when I tell you the title of the other one. This is in the Elite series of books. This is Napoleon's Light Cavalry Tactics. As I say, you're going to be absolutely dumbfounded, shocked to hear that the other one is called Napoleonic Heavy Cavalry Tactics. Despite them both having French cavalry on the cover, it's not French cavalry tactic. It is cavalry tactics for the different for all the nations. So if you go to the look at the pictures, as I always do, you've got, say, Prussian Landwehr Lancers there. You've got some French line. You got their whole section on Mamelukes and Cossacks. So yeah, I mean, this one I would recommend. I mean, I would recommend all the Osprey books, to be honest. If you are interested in a period or a style of warfare, you can't go wrong with these. But this one and the heavy cavalry one, I think, if you want to know about the tactics, absolute must-buys. How effective were cavalry carbines in the Napoleonic era? Not hugely. But there were occasions where French cavalry units in particular would stand and fire as their charge reaction. So I would say that was the exception rather than the rule, though. Cavalry carbines were mostly useful in small actions. So if you were doing a skirmish, useful then. Good for picket duty, things like that. But not necessarily that useful massed battlefield. Haythorne Thwaite gets short shrift for modern reviewers. To be honest, I mean, yeah, okay, that's fine. I tend to find modern reviewers are usually, I don't want to generalize. I would be suspect of the how can I put this? I would be suspect of the political environment that many modern historians are operating in, and thus I think some of their ideas may be informed by more modern suggestions rather than things that were perhaps not a consideration for older historians. There you go. I think I've put that quite delicately. So, split post, chimp fingers. Yep, absolutely. There. Just stay away from the Osprey ebooks. I found they chop up the map. Oh, right, okay, fair enough. Does the Light Cavalry book talk about dismounted tactics? Well, let's have a look. Light Cavalry task, dismounted fire, skirmishing, firing from the saddle, pursuit. So, firing from the saddle, let's have a quick look at that. I'm thinking like Buford's dismounted action on day one of Gettysburg. There wasn't much like that in the Napoleonic Wars. By the American Civil War, mounted infantry was basically the thing. Look at how glorious is that. Reconnaissance, vedettes. So vedettes are where your carbine comes into its own. Patrol clashes. Where are we? So yeah. So I'm gonna have to go because it's gone 7 o'clock. My camera is dying. So if you want to know the answer, check out the book. You'll be able to get it from Amazon. It's not going to cost you too much. But I am going to call it a day there. I did not know that. AK toner. I did not know that. But yes, I'm going to have to call it a day there, chaps. Thank you very much for joining me. And this may cut off because the camera is about to die. But thank you for joining me. There will be a video this Sunday. I can 100% guarantee it, he says. And I hope to see you all then. Thank you very much. And I'll see you guys later.